Our guest tonight is Impact Wrestling star and the Demon Assassin, Rosemary. How you doing?
Just delightful, boys. Thank you for having us.
I'm very excited for this. I'm giddy almost. You had an amazing series of matches on Impact Wrestling with Jade for the Knockouts Championship earlier this year, but recently you lost the title to Sienna at Slammiversary. Have your goals changed at all, or are you still focused on regaining the title?
Our goals have always been complete and utter domination. With our series with Jade, we relished the fact that she stepped up and into a more violent world that she hadn't accessed in her own world before. It was the dollhouse. It was about playing. It was about pretty little things, and she truly evolved into something more violent with us, and we loved it, and we loved that we brought that out of her. And yes, she did fall, but we were very proud to have seen that, and we would have loved to continue it. We would have loved to see what would have happened if her soul had gone down an even darker route, but alas, that was not to be. And yes, with Sienna, we did lose our title, and that perhaps might deter some people, but not us, because Yana had fallen to the Demon Assassin before, previously twice, and most recently on the live one night only for the Knockouts title in January. The fact that she learned how to defeat us, the fact that she evolved, the fact that she went to a place where perhaps she wouldn't have considered to go before, and perhaps used tactics that she hadn't considered and learned how to defeat us, we respect that, absolutely. It elevates her game, which means we must now elevate ours, and that is exciting, is it not?
Mike Yard, next question.
The feud between Decay and the Hardys, it really took the wrestling world by storm for a period of time, and I think that it really seemed to put you on the map as one of the top female performers in the entire business. How do you feel that particular angle helped you improve as an individual, and what do you think that it did for your overall popularity as well?
To be able to have that kind of exposure, especially as an unconventional female, perhaps in this world, yes, we look different, we sound different, we wrestle different, we behave different, and then we were on this spotlighted pedestal during Delete or Decay and the entire Great War saga. So people were exposed to something they weren't used to and perhaps intrigued by, seeing a little bit of the darkness. And you could argue that the Hardys were the fan favorites in this, but the Hivelings are loud and the Hivelings are rabid, and they, while perhaps overshadowed by a larger contingent, they are still made sure that their voices were heard, and they grow day by day. And probably a lot to do with the Great War saga, because people learned that this was something that they could attach themselves to, something that they could follow, and the Demon Assassin was a leader that they were proud to follow, and their numbers increase every day.
BG?
Well, your performances have been among the very best in the company for more than a year now. Is there a moment that stands out to you the most, or perhaps just one that you were most excited for?
Well, standout moment of the last year and a half. Take a year and a half to get to where we are in Impact Wrestling, and we've only just begun. But probably the greatest moment, yes, to go back at the start of the feud with Jade. That Six Sides of Steel main eventing Impact, really our first time in singles competition. We had been supporting our brothers up till that point, and we had just recently lost the tag titles, and now the goals had switched. We're moving away from the tag titles and setting our sights on the Knockouts title. It was time to take over. It was time to put Gail Kim on notice. It was time to put Jade on notice, and it was time to put everyone else in that Knockouts division on notice that's been running around thinking that we weren't a threat just because we hadn't been paying attention to them. Well, we turned our attention to them, and we got what we wanted, and we were undeniably a force, and we were granted that slot in the main event of Impact in the Six Sides of Steel with Jade to crown a new Impact Wrestling Knockouts champion that had been vacated by Gail, and made sure we were heard.
Well, there have been some major changes over the last few months, from the end of the Decay group to Global Force Wrestling taking over. From your perspective, how are you dealing with the changes, and do you think the changes will be beneficial to your future?
Adaptation is key, darling. Everything about nature, if you do not adapt, you die. We are no exception, so we are learning. We are learning who to watch, who to keep an eye on. Spoiler alert, everybody. And not a single person is safe, no matter what they think. No matter if they think we aren't paying attention to them, we are. Currently, our sights may be on Sienna and the poor blood-spattered bride. But that doesn't mean that we're not paying attention to what else is going on. We did just notice that Darlene Gale has announced that she will be retiring at the end of the year. Now, don't think that we're letting her go without that match that we have been begging for, antagonizing her for, teasing her about. We tried to get her attention. She's not leaving. She's not leaving without giving us that attention. And Allie, our dear little bunny, don't ever turn on. You won't like what happens.
Mike Chiari?
You've had a lot of groundbreaking matches during your tenure with the company. Six Sides of Steel, Monsters Ball, Last Knockout Standing. How important do you think those matches are for continuing the advancement of women's wrestling? And also, are there any other types of matches that you would like to have an opportunity to work in the future?
Those matches were important because those matches show the length that we will do to get what we want, which is absolutely limitless. We are not afraid of pain. Not to say that we don't feel pain. Don't be ridiculous. This body is flesh and blood, no matter what we say. But to go through a Monsters Ball takes such mental fortitude, and of course it helped have a mentor such as Abyss to prepare us for that match. But to go through it, taking weapon shots and going through tables that perhaps are impressive when a man does it, but when the considerably smaller framed female goes through a table, yes, it's painful. It's destructive. It's breathtaking. And it is proving that we are willing to go to these limits. There are no reasons for us to not do what the boys can do. And I think we've proven that. As for what else we would like to do, we have yet to play with a ladder to ascend to new heights, metaphorically and physically. Perhaps that will be something in our future.
BG?
Well, what do you feel you and the rest of the women need to do to secure more main event opportunities?
Keep demanding attention. Jade and the Demon demanded attention, and there was no other place to put us but the main event of that Impact. Sienna demanded attention, and we were the semi-main event of Slammiversary. We aren't being overlooked. We are some of the highest rated segments. If you go on Impact's YouTube channel, the knockout segments have the numbers, and that's undeniable. People want to see what Rosemary is going to do. People want to see what Sienna has to say. People want to see Laurel's antics. People want to see Allie and her infallible goodness. There's no way to deny these things, and Impact sees that, and so we are given these spots, the semi-main event of a pay-per-view, the main event of Impact. And Impact does rotate, but it's not just the heavyweight title scene that is in the main event, it's the tag, the X Division title, the Knockouts title, and it does distribute it quite evenly. So because with that sort of competitive playing field, you have to remain competitive.
But one underestimated part of being a wrestler is becoming a role model. What does it mean to you when you hear young children, young girls, young boys walk up to you and they tell you that they look up to you?
There is an undeniable satisfaction in knowing that there are other children who were like you growing up. We grew up with all boys. We had, I believe, a brother and 13 male cousins, maybe a couple of girls. We weren't a girly girl by any means. But we grew up differently. We grew up playing sports. And perhaps a social outcast, definitely not a popular girl. And to be a role model, to know that the other children who aren't cookie cutters, who don't fit the mold, who aren't perhaps cheerleaders, who aren't the popular kids, who are a little bit bookish, who are a little bit nerdy, who are a little bit off-center, who enjoy painting their faces, who enjoy horror movies rather than chick flicks. There is a role model for you, and we welcome you into the Hive. The Hive is a collection of all sorts of social misfits from all walks of life, from all colors and creed and countries. It doesn't matter. If you identify with what we are doing, you are welcome here.
Mike Chiari?
With regard to women's wrestling, the Mae Young Classic is generating a lot of buzz right now. What are your overall thoughts on the tournament, and how do you think that something like that could be beneficial to female wrestlers all over the world, no matter what promotion they work for?
Exposure is never a bad thing. We know several of those girls that are in the Mae Young Classic, and all of them deserve a spotlight. All of them deserve the chance. In this world, in any facet of this world, really, in any business, but especially in professional wrestling, as it does have the more public exposure, it is about having that door opened, having that opportunity, having that ball passed to you. You may have all the tools to run with it, but unless someone gives it to you, you may never get that opportunity. All of those girls are just waiting for an opportunity. And when it is given to them, they are going to run with it. They are going to show that it was the right choice to be given that ball. And then some of them have been waiting for years. Mercedes Martinez is one of the most respected women's wrestling veterans on the independent circuit. And this is finally her opportunity, the exposure that she deserves after so many years. But all of us already knew. All of us know she's the best. And finally, the rest of the world will be able to get a glimpse of that as well. So absolutely, no matter what age, no matter how many years you've been doing this, it's all exposure and it's all getting that chance. And it's up to you with what you do with that chance. And what bigger platform is there than in an international market such as the WWE and this Mae Young Classic? It's 100% a wonderful thing for these girls.
Brendan Gavin, final question?
How would you like to see Rosemary continue to evolve moving forward?
Well, unmistakably, the setbacks that we have suffered in the last months have come at the expense of the fact that we no longer have the numbers advantage. Have you noticed? LAX shows up with 5. For so long, Decay was the three-headed dragon. We had all corners covered, and LAX showed up with 5 and took out our brothers, and now there is one demon. And then we continued to try. We were there for Allie. We were there for Braxton, but they had other things to take care of that night. Allie tried to help us, but Sienna still has the numbers. Sienna has the bride. Sienna has the cousin. Sienna has Kong. And that was our downfall. So, it's time to start recruiting, isn't it, boys?
Well, another huge thank you to our guest tonight, Rosemary. Catch her stealing the show every Thursday on Impact Wrestling on Pop TV. Tell the fans where they can support you.
We are on Twitter and Instagram at We Are Rosemary. We have, we don't know if there's many left. You might have to hurry for the Hive t-shirt on shopimpact.com, but we do have other t-shirts on prowrestlingtees.com/Courtney Rush. And by all means, come play with us on Twitter. We're very active and we have a lot to say.
Another huge thank you to Rosemary. Good luck moving forward.
Thank you.